So today we're doing some partial speedrunning of MechWarrior 1 from the late 80s, early 90s. Uh, we've basically saved our game right at the end of the storyline where we know where we're going to be attacking. We've never been in combat before, we just have one Shadowhawk. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to test how easy and predictable it is to win the game with just a Shadowhawk. I've done it many times, but typically then I'll have higher gunnery skills or I'll have a teammates with me. I've done it solo a couple times, mostly actually by accident. I wasn't really trying to speedrun or anything, but now I'm trying to do it intentionally and consistently, which is actually rather hard. Um, you've got a limited amount of ammo and you've got some really big mean things and they don't miss for the most part. You cannot sustain any kind of real combat with these guys. There's no they'll hit you and it hurts and you'll die. Um, anyway, this is actually just a partial run that I aborted here. When you're shooting from really long range, sometimes your stuff misses and you need to get 100% utilization out of almost every single bullet that you shoot. There's not a lot of room for error. And I think here the Warhammer starts getting into PPC range before I dispose of him. So as it turns out, you really have to understand how armor works. In this particular instance of MechWarrior, red, as we see right here on the radar screen, so to speak, indicates that they're low on armor, but it doesn't delineate between 0 armor and now you're hitting criticals versus having some armor left. Anyway, so I've got a saved state right here. I just revert back to it. Anyway, I'm really trying to find out how long it takes me to fight this final battle as a Shadowhawk. So if I could come into the game with a Marauder and probably finish it consistently and easier, but the second part of the game is much harder with the Marauder, as we'll see. Also, we're in DOSBox at just under 6,000 cycles, but the game itself is process intense, so you've got multiple things on the field that slows it down. You want to speed things up because it's a speed run. You want to minimize the amount of time you're at slow speed and maximize the amount of time that you're at a faster speed, except for kiting is a very technical thing, probably needs to be done relatively slow. Anyway, the principle is basically the same. You just take tons of headshots, and when the armor's gone, which means 1 or 2 hits into red, you get there's some RNG for critical hits. There are 3 different critical hits you can make. One is to destroy to some degree life support, to destroy to some degree sensors, and just if flat out, hey, did you kill the person who's driving the tank? So I think in this instance, we kill that. I don't know if I do it. Yeah. So in this instance, I've probably, I don't do a damage check on it, but I've probably actually just killed the mech operator without doing damage to anything else. You can damage life support and like it basically means nothing. Maybe if mech overheats or something, it might kill the guy in it. But if the mech overheats, you're dead. So that means they've overheat because they've shot you too many times. If the sensors are destroyed, not damaged, but destroyed, it can't really ever shoot at you. You can dispose of it later with medium lasers if you have to. But he'll walk around and like get in the way and obstruct your pathing. So you kind of deal with that earlier. Obviously, if you destroy life support, the person dies, and that's independent of the chance that the person just dies, even if you don't even damage life support. So in this case, I just eventually get a number of hits. You'll just destroy the head generally, but you're hoping for RNG to kill the mech before you just have to put out that kind of damage. Here the game coding is such that these guys are like searching for your allies, and there are no allies, which is good because otherwise you end up having to do a little bit of repositioning to make sure that you don't run backwards into mountains and then get pinned and die or off the map. you're constantly basically exploiting the speed difference between your mech and their mech. You can walk backwards almost as fast as they can walk forwards, which gives you lots and lots of time to kite them to your heart's content. I think here I don't know if after a couple hits, you won't actually tell a difference if you destroyed the sensors. So you got to check the damage report and see if there's been a sensor kill. Because if I've destroyed the sensors, and he'll still behave like a normal, fully functional mech, I just won't know it. And if I destroy the sensors, I don't want to waste any more AC5 or LRM5 ammo on them. The last mech is always the hardest. It's easy to dispose of the first three. This last guy is very difficult. You're way low on ammo, and his head is really strong, and your bullets are really weak, is really what it boils down to. So we'll see here. We're going to unload completely into him. Every shot looks like it hits, and he's still going strong. So he's almost out of armor, and now you've got to go into his range, and you just have to charge him. There's no other. You can't take the hits. You just shoot as fast as you can, and hopefully you get a sensor destroy, because it'll impair his aiming, but it won't stop his aiming. But it's sort of a man fight after that, and Shadowhawks don't man fight Battle Masters very well, so to say the least. Here we have the second opportunity or the second fight, and basically it's a touch the base fight. You win by touching the base. I lost a little time here just kind of looking around, but the goal is fairly straightforward. You've got jump jets as a Shadowhawk. You just jump on top of the mountain near the base. You lie flat. You crash and lie flat is probably a better way of putting it. And then nothing can hit you. Once your jump jets are restored, you jump and then you land on top of the building next. And it works really well as long as you don't have like red legs when you start. You're going to take some damage to your legs because you basically crash land it on the mountain. Controlled crash landing. But you see here you get, this appears to be the fastest way to complete the second mission. If I'm on a Marauder, I'm not even going to get to this point. You walk so much slower. You see here you've got at least 2 mechs you got to plow through. Not that a Marauder couldn't do it or couldn't do the first part faster, just this part seems so much faster with the Shadowhawk. Anyway, we crash land. We still have our legs. We wait for our jump jets to fill up. And I just let it go all the way up for kicks, and now it's full speed ahead to the land on top of the base to win the game. So that's the win condition. Congratulations, we've won. Now we're going to take a peek and look at our stats here. So it takes about 6.5 minutes to do it with a Shadowhawk. I'm going to do it and post a similar time with a Marauder because those are the 2 easiest mechs in the game to kite with. Let's see some Newsnet stats, get a sense of where I've been. I don't know, just went through a bunch of interesting stuff. Unfortunately, you do repairs on your own mech after it, so you're not really quite sure exactly what happened, what kind of damage you took. I was kind of interested to see if I almost felt like I got hit by 1 or 2 things as I was jumping, but yeah, that's it. I'll post a Marauder one here soon.